I'm Erin from the Sipping on Some Crime podcast, and I would like to take a moment to tell you about Krista Martin. I first became aware of Krista Martin's case by coming across another podcaster's TikTok. I'll link them below. Her name is Marianne. Not only is she the host of the Social Detective podcast, but she actually grew up next door to Krista. And she has been fighting to raise her voice and keep her name out in the public, and to bring her some sense of justice. Marianne would tell 12 News that she remembers Krista being caring, kind, and artistic, and was a huge cat lover, especially Siamese cat. Despite Marianne being more of a dog person, her and Krista still had a friendship growing up. When Marianne was 18, she would move away, and about 2 years later, she would find out that Krista had been murdered in her Wichita, Kansas apartment. Krista was born March 20th, 1969, and was said to be shy, quiet, and often kept to herself. In September of 1989, Krista was now 20 and had been recently laid off from her job at Kansas Blueprint. Krista would be last seen on the afternoon of October 1st, 1989. A friend concerned about her would go over to her apartment the following day on October 2nd, 1989, and discover Krista had been murdered. Krista would be found fully clothed, lying on her couch with no signs of forced entry or burglary. This friend would be investigated and ruled out as a suspect. An autopsy would determine that Krista had died of blunt force trauma to the back left side of her head with some kind of blunt object, which investigators never found at Krista's apartment and do not know to this day what that object was. The weekend before Krista's death, police were called to Krista's apartment due to a fight in Krista's apartment. She had a neighbor, Beverly, that lived right across, and her window faced into Krista's apartment. And she said she heard screaming that day and woke up around 3 or 4 a.m. to see two men standing outside of Krista's apartment. One of the men said to the other man, "Why did you have to hit her?" And she heard the other man reply, "Because she's a woman and she deserved it." Now, 34 years later, and Krista's case is still unsolved. Investigators are looking for new leads, and a huge way to help them do that is by keeping Krista's name and her face in the public eye. Sadly, Krista's case has not had much media coverage, so please share Krista's story in whatever format you're most comfortable with, including word of mouth. If you have any information on Krista Martin's case, please contact the Wichita Police Department Cold Case Unit at 316-268-4379 or 316-268-4609. I will be putting up more information on my Sipping on Some Crime website about Krista Martin's case and providing source and informative links for you guys as well. And please go over to Social Detective's TikTok, which it will be linked below and in the comments, and go show her some love and support because she's been fighting so hard for Krista. Let her know you see her and you support her. Remember, every time we share a face, we get closer to solving a case. Thank you for getting to know about Krista today.